Welcome into Coffee and Chel for December 11th. It's Thursday, 2 days away from my vacation. I'm getting that stress where there's too much going on and time isn't stopping. So me leaving is coming up sooner. You got to make sure that your kids taken care of when you're staying at my in-laws. All of that, but it's Christmas time, so you're making sure that all your Christmas stuff is handled. Then work if you're self-employed, man, it is a time. I can't wait to actually just go away. It's been a long time since I've done that, and I don't know about you guys. Does anyone that isn't a big traveler, do you? I almost feel like I get more stressed out about vacation because I don't know what to do, and I feel like when I'm doing nothing, that's when I struggle the most. I'm overthinking it, but it happens every time that I do go away. I always end up trying to, more stressed out about it. I can't relax. So I'm hoping this time, I'm excited for it. After the last month, I desperately need one. And of course, when I go away, you guys get to benefit because EA always drops the best content ever on the few times that I actually do go away. So be excited for that. We know we're getting the World Junior Chel Week, and I would not be surprised if on Friday they drop the mid-season content nuke where we get four more icons. But we'll have to wait and see. Speaking of icons, they did it again. So yesterday, if you haven't been on Hockey Ultimate Team yet, I've talked about this ever since last year when they came out with those team builder packs. Okay, we talked about them a lot. Last year was the first time ever in my time covering this game where packs would come out that you would use with coin, that you could use your coins to buy, and it was good value, and it wasn't because of a busted pack. So it wasn't Pack Apocalypse or the Toronto Maple Leaf packs, for anyone that remembers those. It was simply just, okay, the contents of this pack make sense in the current market of what cards are selling for. And that happened for the first time last year, and that was a positive. Like I said, I think that being excited to buy packs with your coins every once in a while should be a thing. It shouldn't be completely off the table. And from NHL 19 all the way to 24, again, 24, since, other than the broken ones, and there were a few, it was never worth it to buy with coins, right? It was never worth it. You just completely avoided. However, the problem that this brings up is that you essentially provide so much randomness in the content and how you acquire it that you're left with a lot of the player base being like, what's the point? Okay, so I want to get into this a little bit. For anyone that hasn't seen it yet, the icon pack in the store, okay, going for 337,000 coins, I believe, will give you 3 icons, okay? And an icon is guaranteed an 86 overall. It's different than alumni, right? Base alumni are 85 all the way down, right? But icons are 86 and above. It's Paul Coffey, it's Sakic, it's Fedorov, all those guys. Okay. The crazier part was that you have a 70% chance at pulling an 87 overall. Now, assume you're going to pull all 86s, which is actually crazy because you only have a 30% chance of pulling an 86 and you have a 30% chance of not getting an 87 overall, which is just absurd, right? When you think about it, because 87s are used to make the 90s, so much value, and you have these packs. The time in which you want to spend your coins on packs is when the gamble is taken out of the equation. So I'll give you an example. Let's say you assume you pull the lowest of the pack. Okay, you pull the lowest that you can pull, and that is an 86 overall icon. So what you need to do is go and take a look at what 86 overall icons are selling for, and then do the math. 86 overall icons are selling for 110,000 coins. Okay? That would mean that 3 of them is 330,000. So about 7,000 coins you're leaving on the table. However, the major benefit here is, first of all, they're untradeable, so it's not really impacting the market of icons too much. It's not drastically reducing the prices of icons. They've come down a little bit, right? And they probably will for the next week because more and more people will buy these packs. However, the chance at an 87 or an 89 or a 90 for basically not losing any coins if you just got all 86s is what makes these packs absolutely absurd, right? And there's no planning for this. There's no saving your resources, saving for an MSP. It is simply just holding on to your coins, not buying anything that you want or that comes out that's new, and waiting for EA to do something like this. They're reactionary now. And I talked about this a lot last year, that when you don't engage, it forces their hand. Okay. So here is what I think happened. Last year, let me again to just catch everyone up. No one did team builder sets. Literally no one, because the value that we create, we set the value based on supply and demand of the cards in the player pool. But we set the demand of what the card costs in the auction house. EA doesn't do that. They help, definitely, but we set the cost of that. We determine the value of the card and whatnot. Team builders were not even close. I mean, really, either were X Factors or Icons, but team builders were far and away the worst. Packs come out because they see that no one's building team builders, and now that is how you build team builders. So all you would do by the end of the season, I was just waiting. Like I was on my No Money Spencers, you can watch. I'm saving my coins, waiting for a team builder pack to come out so I can then buy them via the store because it was so much better value. And this is the same kind of thing. And it's a great pack. Anyone that was able to do it or that maybe had 1 million coins, you made it like bandits because icons are going to be around all the way to 99. Okay, they will be. They're going to keep going the same path that they're going, where you spend a few of the, or you trade in some 87s, you get 90s. When 93s come out, you're going to trade in 590 overalls, right? And so on and so forth. So when you can get a gigantic collection of them, like let's say you had 1 million coins, right? 1 million coins, you just got 9 icons. And if you got 986 overalls, you might have the worst luck on the planet. Okay. And if you pulled a 90, I mean, that's 1.3 million coins in value for 330,000 coins, right? And the issue with it is, again, it is the change should not. Here is my issue. And again, this is not surprising. And I just want to, I've been highlighting this all year round because I'm really trying to get the casual player to not fall into the trap and understand why stuff is happening. All right. I'll probably get, EA is probably not thrilled about, my coverage of content in terms of spending money, right? Because I'm actively being like, hey, this is why these tactics are happening, right? So and you know what? It is what it is, right? When you see your player base not take part in content that is amazing, like it's not like they came out the star of the month Eichel, lame card. Like, not good. We just had his X Factor. His X Factor was better, right? That is bad, not bad content, but it's lame content. We don't want, it wasn't good, and it really didn't move the needle at all in terms of player interest, right? Then you go, so same thing with but that's not what happened with the icons, okay? They released Bergeron. That is, again, I have not been able to play with him. That is the perfect card for me. Quick release is the best offensive ability in the game. It's not close. And quick draw with someone with almost maxed out faceoffs means that someone who is good at the faceoffs, like myself, is going to start with the puck every single possession, regardless of how good my opponent is. The advantage there, and then you have a card that has like 92 skating or and above, and the ability to go +4 overall currently. It's the first card that can get +4 overall with Ritzkovian and Stutzla, right? That you can build. You can literally build those. And then you've got a card that's just so good. So it's not like no one was making these because the card was not good. It is simply that it was way too damn expensive. Okay. And then their answer for that is to release a pack in the store and not, you have a holiday event, randomly drop an icon pack. Just one. 86 overall. Here. Right? Like, that's untradeable. And that might seem like a lot, and that probably would impact the market and things like that. But that would go a longer way to me than releasing a pack, because let me be very clear here. The majority of people, while they might have spent 330,000 coins, I would say the percentage of the player base that even has enough coins to do that, less than 1%. So then how do you think the other ones, when it's $45 to get that unbelievable pack, again, that is a pack cheap enough that provides enough value that is going to get an exponential amount of people that are on the fence about spending money to spend money. So when your answer for great content, no one can make it, is, hey, let's make a pack in the store that's good value but still expensive. $45, guys, is half the cost of the brand new game. When you actually look at microtransactions, it is crazy. when you think of when you put in that aspect. The fact that half the cost of the game is 386 overall icons is nuts. And not only that, is it's about we're in the Christmas season. NHL's about to go on sale for $40. Happens every year. So yeah, you basically spent the cost of the game for 3 icons, right? That shouldn't be the answer. That shouldn't be the answer at all. Whenever there is good content that can't be made, it should not be like, okay, let's put a pack in the store that you can buy, and it's a pretty good value. It's not expensive, and I just think that like that's a unfortunate reality of the Ultimate Team business. And again, just I wish that it would get better, and it is only going to get worse. And the frustrating part is that they've developed a system, again, not just EA NHL. Madden does this perfectly. They milk their opponents, or their opponents, I guess, their consumers so much worse. NBA 2K is probably the absolute worst. And everyone that wants 2K to make a sports game, good luck. It's borderline extortion for anyone that plays 2K. I had one of the bigger 2K creators watch one of my Coffee and Chel videos, and I was talking about how the cost of this, and it's predatory, but it's not predatory because you could simply put the game down, right? But I guess technically we're addicted to it, and the cost of these things is just so damn expensive, and what we get back is so weak. The reason why this pack is so insane is because for almost all of the entire year, it has been not good value to open up packs. The cards that you get don't equal anywhere close to what you would spend in terms of money or coins. Right, that's why when a pack like this comes out, it's absurd. You have to do it if you have the coins. Like that would be where I would kind of, my advice would be: if you have 330,000 coins, 100%, this is one of the safest things that you can do with that 330,000 coins, because icons are not going anywhere. They will continue to rise, right, and you will need to trade them in. But the bigger thing that frustrates me is, again, I think that I built my community on like-minded people. I think I can see it. The demographic of my community is 25 to 40, right? Over 70% of you guys that watch my channel are 25 to 40. And I have a sympathy for people in that range, especially guys, because I am one, and I know the challenges financially, and I know when you want to play a game, you're addicted to it, and then you get so wrapped up into it. So I try, when I'm talking about NHL, to alleviate some of the problems that I know that you're going to run into, right? And here is the biggest problem. I have no problem with people spending money in the game. I talk about this all the time. When you have a game that you really enjoy, and I'm not talking about you're addicted to it and you feel the need that you have to keep up. I'm saying that when you're stressed out, or when you want to, it's not mindless. You're not getting upset when you lose, okay? For me, I've talked about this a number of times, Pokemon TCG Pocket. It's on my phone. It's unbelievable. I pay the $15 a month subscription to get like extra stuff. And when new stuff comes out, I have no problem spending money, right? Because I don't have the time to grind. I'm not streaming it and things like that, right? No problem with that. Same thing with NHL. There's people out there that work 80 hours a week. You get 2 hours a week to play. You have the majority of people that work more have more money. Not everyone, but that is usually the correlation. And time is money, and it's in the opposite, right? So money is time. So if you can not have to do your objectives and things that you don't want to do because you have a very difficult job and you have very limited time, spending money is completely okay, right? Here is my problem. When Bergeron and Funuf came out, let's say someone decided to spend $100. The $100 in things that you could have gotten in the store was so little value. You probably didn't even come close to being able to build Bergeron, even if you had a couple things in your collection, like an 87 or 2, and the free 86 overall Bergeron, okay? You probably didn't even have, you know what I mean? You probably didn't even come close to that. You spend $100 today, and you might have pulled 2 87 overalls, or at minimum 6 86 overall icons. The discrepancy and difference in value there for someone that wants to spend money in the game is absurd. And the problem is we can't plan for it. It is completely random, and it is reactionary. They didn't see enough. Now, maybe they want more people to have access to it. But if that was the case, they would give everyone one free one, as opposed to, hey, rich hut players, go get richer. Like that's the frustrating part, right? And this is the problem with Ultimate Team. It will only get worse until there is a breaking point. And I'm very curious to see what that is, but we're years away from that. We are years away from that. But I actually feel bad for people to spend money, because if you did not, I'll give you one final example that I've done a couple times throughout Coffee and Chel this year. If you spent $200, $150 this year on packs. The unbelievable difference in wealth in this game, if you did it at the correct time as opposed to the incorrect time, is the most it's ever been. For example, if someone spent $150 at launch of the game, you got a bunch of stuff. Okay? You got a bunch of stuff. That was it. You probably didn't pull an icon because those are so rare, and you just got a bunch of stuff to make stuff. Okay? You got fodder. All right? Which is still useful, and you have a lot of it, and you probably made a bunch of asset players or maybe a couple icons because of it. If you spent that $150 3 hours after the fantasy event ended, and you pulled a fantasy item, which almost everyone did that spent money, that's 2 million coins, unless you got Lilligren, right? Even still, if you got Lilligren, that's 500,000 coins at minimum, but he was going for 1 million. They were all going for 1 million and above. That's unacceptable. It sucks. That's there's nothing to plan for. There's no way to engage correctly. It is simply random. Oh, things aren't going well. They're making a massive market adjustment in trend or a market adjustment in terms of value. They're going to release a crazy pack. It's not even like it was Black Friday or something. It was literally just, again, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm just looking at trends here in the game. And I have not seen a lot of the 90 Bergeron because the cost is insanely expensive. It is. Like, I know that, like, there's a lot of whales out there. And what's funny is that the people that spend the most amount of money are in silver and below. Crazy to hear that, but that is where, because a lot of people that aren't great at the game, they don't get a lot of time to play the game, spend the most amount of money, right? The people that are great at the game know how to get the stuff for free. They're great at the game. They aren't as reliant on having those cards. And I'm in gold and in platinum, like right around there. And I've seen the 90 Bergeron like once out of like 30 games since he's been dropped, right? Like, it is so expensive. And what I think happened is that they see that these are great cards. Everyone wants them. They go on Reddit and they see like, oh my God, these cards are insane. And then they see the cost. And then they see that no one's doing the sets. Again, the thing that will motivate change the most from any business is lack of engagement, not spending money, lack of engagement, simply not even going in. And I think that's what happened here. And you're going to see a ton of icons now because people got to take advantage of it. And I love this for a lot of the player base. This is great. For a large portion of the player base that had a bunch of coins that you had no idea what to do, you just made out like bandits. You got an unbelievable pack. And for the rest of us that engage in the content as it comes, like they intend and want us to do, we're left just holding the bag. And I think that's the frustrating part. For the players that log in every day, the new event comes and we're excited and we spend our resources or our money to try and get the new content. And then they see that while they appreciate what we're doing, it's not happening enough. So we're going to help out these other guys a little bit. And that's like just... Anyways, like I mentioned, look at the cost of 86 overall icons, guys. Those will go up when this pack is done. I think it's in there for a week. If you get 330,000 coins, I think even unless 86 overall icons got to like 80,000 coins in value, like in the auction house, if they got to 80,000 coins, I think that would be, kind of the breaking point there. But if it's 80,000 above, I would spend the 330,000. Even if you got 386s, okay. Like you missed out on some value there. However, you're always going to be able to trade in icons, 86 overall and above. But you're also taking your shot. 70% at an 87 overall is just way too high of value. Way too high of value to not take advantage of. Also be on the lookout for 84 to 85 alumni. Those have spiked in price because everyone that did not pull an 87 overall to use for the Bergeron and the Phaneuf, they got 86s and they're trying to turn those into 87s. You need 84 to 85 alumni. So just be on the lookout for that because the prices of that will change. So long rant there. And I hate that I got to do so many of these where I'm just pointing out clear business tactics, but I could insert any video game. That's it. Like I said, I've gotten far more interested in the gaming industry. And it's just a problem across the entire industry. All right, let's talk a little bit more fun stuff. All right, the theme team. Yesterday on stream, I've talked about, well, actually in these videos and on stream, I've been talking about this for 2 weeks now. I've been really trying to get the the Sharks theme team in action. And the last piece of the puzzle was getting that Jeff Skinner that just came out. I did all my chores. I had no problem doing it. I did it off stream, which I couldn't believe. And yesterday, I recorded 4 videos, I think 9 to 10 games on stream. And then last night, I threw them together, and I'll be uploading those to YouTube. Full gameplay. I cut out the fluff, right? I cut out the, where we're just yapping, whatever. So you're going to get full gameplay, though, of all of those games. And I've got about 4 to 5 videos, and I'll release them one every day while I'm gone. Okay, so if you want to watch my gameplay, my Sharks theme team run, the amount of people in my chat that said this is the most fun or this is the most like hype and energy that you've had since like launch, and that's good to see because it really does feel like that. It is. I feel like I have found my way on how to play this video game, and I learned this by playing MLB The Show. I've talked about this quite a bit on stream, especially, but obviously with the Red Sox or with the Sharks being so bad before this year, and Macklin really, it was really hard to invest a lot of my time into watching all the Sharks games. Right, I would watch the first period, but then it's 11 p.m. and I'd fall asleep because I got to get up at 6 a.m. Or I'd watch it the next morning. But when they're getting blasted 10-0 by the Penguins and stuff like that, like it was tough to watch. And over the last 3 years, the Red Sox haven't been much better. But when I played MLB The Show 23, for whatever reason, I just stopped chasing everything because it wasn't my main game. NHL is my main game. I play a lot of MLB, but I'm not, again, I don't spend money. It's always been my gimmick now. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to chase MLB because it's very expensive early on. MLB to complete the stuff early on is, you're looking at like $2,000 to complete the big collection. Okay. And while the $2,000 in MLB is far more than in NHL, but nonetheless, I just made a Red Sox team of the players that I was watching in real life because I was starting to watch the Red Sox a little bit. And then it made me obsessed with the Red Sox. Like I was watching them every night. Over the last 3 seasons, I've watched 75% of their games start to finish. And if I couldn't catch it live, I'd watch it again. Like I'd watch it back. And for the first time this season, I'm doing that with the Sharks. And then it's made me want to play the game. And then when I play the game in the theme team and I'm scoring goals with Colin Graff, then I'm watching the game and I'm looking at Colin Graff, I'm like, man, this is awesome. Like that's the beauty of a theme team. But I also understand why theme teams are not for everyone, right? Because I'm someone that is competitive. I like playing online video games. It will always be something that scratches the itch competitively because when you're an adult, and you're not a professional athlete, you don't compete in pro sports, right? So, like, even when you're out of college, like you just stop playing competitive sports for the most part. And I think that that's something that video games really fits well in, especially sports games. And the balance of, okay, I just want to play ranked with my Sharks team and not overdo it. So I've played my ranked games. I'm locked in every single game. And now it's Hut Champs time. I can put my Sharks team away a little bit. And now I've got like a new team and a new goal. And I'm just far more locked in and I feel like playing. And it's funny because now I'm going to go away for a week and maybe that creates even more like I want to play. It's funny in the summertime is always when I get most obsessed with NHL, which is wild if you think about it, right? And that's because I'm playing Escape from Tarkov. I'm playing MLB. I still love hockey and I love the NHL video game. And then I'll go 2 weeks without playing, essentially. And then I'm like, I just want to play ranked or rivals or champs. Like, it's all I want to do. And then I'll do it for a while. Like, usually it's when I go and grind to Division 1 because I know that it requires a lot of being obsessed with the game to get to Division 1. Champs gets so much easier as the year goes along. And maybe ranked will this year, but I don't think so. It's going to operate a lot like rivals. Rivals doesn't get any easier because you just match up with the same guy. The pool of players available has shrunk considerably, but the talent level is still like, if you play a Division 1 player, it doesn't matter what their tag is. They're a Division 1 player for the most part. They play roughly the same. So getting to Division 1 or Ultimate, I guess, in this or even Elite is something that is going to be extremely difficult at any point in the season, just like getting Rivals in Division 1 was. And that's when I would kind of do it in the summertime because I know that I would be obsessed with the game enough online where I would do the things required and learn the things required and mechanics to get there. But this has really felt like a great balance. So my experience with the theme team, though, so far, it's, again, the most fun I've had playing Hut. It was really hard. but it was really rewarding. And you can stomach losses or getting scored on a little bit better because no, I'm using Mario Ferraro, not Mario Ferrari, right? Like like there was a couple of times where I got scored on and I've got 81 overall base Mario Ferraro trying to defend against, +4 overall Bergeron. Like, or Stutzla. Like there's, you know what I mean? Like it's something where I'm having to play completely different than my God squad because you don't have that skating luxury. Um, so it's been really fun. And I think that when I see things in comments on my Twitch stream, I had the most viewers I've had in quite some time. And 100% of that is because A, people want to see the theme team, but B, my energy was high. And that's something that for someone that streams every day, not a complaint, by the way, or I'm not complaining. It's just a reality situation. Do the same thing every day. There's some days when you go into work and you're just like, man, better clock in and get through it. And and that happens with streaming, right? But I am blessed because my bad days are far better than a lot of people that struggle with a job that they don't want to do, right? So don't get it twisted. I'm very self-aware in that aspect. But yeah, like it was really fun. Content came out, right? And I talked about this too with the theme team. Tuesday, Wednesday content, I couldn't care less about because I know very rarely is something going to come out where A, it's obtainable because it's usually just stuff that's in packs, like, or stuff that's unobtainable, like insane, like Fedorov, for example, on defense. So I'm just like, okay, let's check it out, and maybe I'll look into it and be able to acquire it in a week or two. But now when I'm looking for any 84 or 86 overall card, like if they come out with an 86 overall Toffoli or a 83 overall Mario Ferraro event item, I'm going to lose my mind and I will do everything in my power to get those cards. Like that's what's exciting to me. And it's made content even better, which is awesome. Right. And like I said, even if a shark doesn't come out, if there's something buildable that comes out, then I could consider it for my God squad. Right. So, and and that's a big thing. Like today is champs and I'm excited to play champs with my main team because there was things that while I had fun playing with my Sharks team, I couldn't pick corners like I had been. I don't have elite quick release. I don't have 95 overall shooters like Bedard and Sakic on the team. Defending the rush was pretty tough. I'm very curious to see if I've gotten better with my main team because if I play patient, like and basically I have to be in position with my Sharks team. If I do that with my main team, like I think that I'll be even better. So I noticed I did notice attributes. So there's a lot of people out there that say, what's the point of building a team when a 90 overall card can get blown by an 80 overall? There's instances, people where you guys aren't paying attention to the stamina of your players, things like that. Stuff like that matters. Now, there's also times where it really doesn't make sense, right? But there is no way around it. I noticed when my fourth line was on the ice, I was trying to survive with Ryan Reeves' 81 overall and Barclay Goodrow's 82 skating. Like, there was no keeping up with Solani. Like it was a mess. And then Askarov. This card and his cards need to be studied because I have never seen anything like this. Askarov in this game, it doesn't matter what overall or what card it is the worst goaltender I have ever used. He is not small. He does not have bad attributes like high aggression or low speed. He can't catch a puck. And someone in my chat said, it's not just Askarov, it's anyone that catches righty. And I was like, okay. Because I was thinking back to that Logan Thompson that came out earlier in the year, and he was really rough. So I don't know if that's it. I'm sure there's a good righty goaltender that people are using. But something has to happen. That Askarov card is a liability, and you're gonna see it in the videos coming out. And so, anyways, that's the update on the theme team. I want to talk a little bit about the NHL. So, I was looking at the standings today. Every morning I wake up and I come down here, and that's what I kind of look at. I just get a glimpse of the standings. We don't get TSN anymore, man. You don't wake up at 7. You've got TSN to go through the rundown. That just doesn't happen anymore. And for anyone that still has that and does that, that's how you get your sports info. I'm so jealous of you. That's awesome. But anyways, so I'm looking at the standings every day. The Eastern Conference is just so mid. It is, and I've talked about this a lot where I think that there's oversaturation. 32 teams is too many, and the game's talent level is at its peak in terms of the most talented players ever, right? Just based on technology and the fact that these kids are made in a lab. Like Connor Bedard's out there firing 700 wrist shots every night since 7 years old, right? Like that doesn't happen. And so it's not that the peak talent isn't there. It's that there's just so many AHLers in the league. There's two full AHL rosters that are in the league that were never there when Vegas is there, and they've been sprinkled out throughout different teams. And I think that you're seeing a lot of that. Every team in the Eastern Conference is 500. The 3-point games and the fact that there is not any true great teams is because of there's 32 teams. Like even take away the fact that there's so many AHL level players that would not make the NHL. Just drafting your first round pick. If you win the cup, Florida's drafting 32nd. Like that matters. That's a second round pick, right? It's only 2 picks back, but you get what I'm saying, right? Like it is just harder. And it was crazy because like 4 points separate first in the Eastern Conference from being out of the playoffs. And we're in December. We're 30 games in. This isn't like it's like 10 games, right? Like 4 points separate that. And the crazier part is that the Detroit Red Wings are at 37 in the Atlantic, right? Montreal, Florida, and Toronto are 4 points back, essentially. 2 wins, and they're in first. They're not in the playoffs right now. And even crazier is that the Atlantic Division, they had 4 playoff teams in the playoffs last year. Toronto, Montreal, Ottawa, Florida, all of them are out right now. I don't think in sports this doesn't happen, especially in the salary cap era, that much parity. A lot of it's just the same teams making the playoffs and the same teams once you win kind of keeping together. And that's why you see, Florida or, those teams that are just always there. The Western Conference, however, is the complete opposite. 17 points separates the second wild card, Edmonton, and the Colorado Avalanche. And what's even crazier, Dallas is 2 points back, quietly. 2 points back of Colorado. Just insane. Like, that is, in December, that is crazy. So, everything, it's a wild race. And what makes this interesting is that with the Western Conference teams having such a lead. So, for example, the Anaheim Ducks, they're 8 points up on a playoff spot. Okay. Anaheim, unbelievable, right? Colorado is 18 points up. They're not going anywhere, right? So what that means is that there is teams in the West that are going to be sellers, hard sellers. The Eastern Conference, man, like the Buffalo, good. Like I lived in Buffalo for 7 years. I used to have season tickets when I was a kid. I have a soft spot for the Buffalo Sabres and their fan base. Another rebuild. And I was reading an article, how does this keep happening? Buffalo has the smallest amount of hockey staff in terms of trainers, development, all of that, scouts, and that is clear. That franchise is an absolute disaster. And it's not like they had bad lottery luck, like obviously McDavid, but they got Eichel. They messed up the Eichel situation. Rasmus Dahlin is great. You have Owen Power. You have an unbelievable decor. Every player that leaves that has some pedigree ends up being a superstar. Like Reinhardt. It's crazy to me how that keeps happening. And I feel bad for Buffalo Sabre fans because you're destined. Maybe you get Gavin McKenna, but you're destined for another 5 years of being in last place again. That's it. And, it sucks. Also, New Jersey. Is it awkward for Jackie? You got to think that injury is freak accident, right? But your teammates have got to be like, come on, man. And now they're out of a playoff spot, which is pretty devastating. But just want to touch on that. I think that when it comes to the deadline, I don't know who in the East is going to sell outside of Buffalo. Ottawa is a pretty good team. They were missing Brady Tkachuk. They're over 500, second last place in the conference, and they're 5 points out of a playoff spot, right? So it's not like they're way out. 2 wins and you're right back in it. Same with Toronto and Florida. Does anyone expect Florida to not get a little bit healthier and then just kind of run back in? I don't know. Very interested to see how that whole situation plays out. The last thing I want to touch on before the comments A little bit of gaming news. Rockstar is getting investigated by the UK government um, because of their recent firing of over 30 people. So 30 employees from Rockstar got fired because of leaks and breaking the confidentiality agreement. There is no tighter ship than Rockstar and getting and having any leaks come out, right? But I just can't stop but thinking that like this game just needs to come out. Like for the sake of this company and the industry. You know what I mean? Like there can't be another delay. Now they pushed it back so far into November of next year that I really don't think like if they were going to do a small delay, then maybe, but this was such a big one. But what it made me think about is this game's been in development for over a decade. The tools at which they use in tech to develop, would those not have changed over the course of this development cycle? Like they're developing a game on a certain engine or whatever. Has it not improved? And did they not need to change it? It's like you've worked hard to develop this game, and like this new tech comes out, and you're like, now we got to redesign it or fix it for this new thing to take advantage of this. Like, it's crazy to me, and I cannot wait to see this game come out, just for the impact it has, because I truthfully believe it'll be one of the first games that comes out that meets the hype and doesn't have any of the bugs. You know, and it's going to be $150 for the game. I don't care, but it better not have any bugs. That's all. Like it better not. And I can't wait to see this game. So 30 people fired over leaks. Like, and I don't blame, like this game is reliant on everything staying secret. And if you have a confidentiality agreement and you decide to mess around, you'll find out. That's just, like crazy. All right, let's get into some of the comments from yesterday's video. We had a couple of good ones. So first, Downtown Gaming says, do you have any recommendations for ticket exchanges? What is the best to do for each ticket level? Honestly, man, I've just been doing the biggest one. I don't think there is a meta to it because there isn't. I guess you could go in and add the base level value. But because we can't see the actual full contents, like we see 182 overall and above item, but we don't see what the overall chances are of the other cards. I've just been doing the biggest ones. I've just been saving up, getting the most expensive ones, not the gold. I haven't seen a gold ticket yet. And, that's, it's tough, but that's just it's the same thing with ranked collectibles or Hut Champs collectibles. I just go with the most expensive. Your idea, K-Kov says, your idea of dads being involved in a sport is great. My 2 cents is to consider coaching. I realize it's not for everyone. Personally, I gain as much, if not more, from this from playing, enjoying the new Hut twist. I am too competitive, and I feel like I train enough in the gym and whatnot to be not an athlete, but do athletics. I cannot wait to coach my son's like little league teams and stuff like that. I will, however, the second that he gets into any sort of competitive that is not house league, will never coach my son's sports. I'm a firm believer of learning to I want my son to respect his coaches. You see these parents that just happens in hockey a lot. I see it especially in the OHL when I was covering the OHL. These parents that invest hundreds of thousands and they're just micromanaging, and they take away a lot of the power from the coaches because they just go to the ownership or whatever. And they're like, hey, here's X amount of money or whatever, play my kid, And I want my son, once he's decided that he wants to play something competitive, that'll be where I want him to learn how to respect and take coaching and criticism, constructive criticism from someone else, of someone that is knowledgeable of a sport. So I think the biggest Unbreakable says, I think the biggest tragedy of this game is that the content is actually solid, but they have gone so anti-consumer with the entirety of Hut that people aren't able to fully engage with the content. 100% agree. And again, this is just happening everywhere in gaming. We're entering that. There will be, I've talked about how like the price of RAM and stuff in cloud gaming is going to just in 5 years eliminate gaming as we know it from a AAA studio side, where it's going to be too expensive to make a game that is innovative. And what's going to end up happening is you're just going to go back and play your old games. And I don't even know if that's a bad thing. Like, I've been playing. I've been talking about this. Like, Mass Effect is one of my favorite game series, and I've been really wanting to play it, but I'm just kind of locked into playing Pokemon and getting that finished. But I think the problem is you get this like sense of like it's an old game. I don't want to play old stuff. Go play Roller Coaster Tycoon. That game holds up. Like there is things if you get out of the mindset of like, oh, it's an old game. It doesn't take a good game made in 2005 is still a good game for the most part in 2025 if the graphics are palatable. Like there's some games where it is just like playing N64 is fun, but I don't care what you say. It is tough to stomach. And when you can play on the Switch and stuff like that, PlayStation 2 and like if you go play Grand Theft Auto 3, if you go play the remastered one, you can swallow it, like you could stomach that. But I think that's what we're going to go through in a couple of years. For gaming is too expensive. People have all these games from years ago and they're just going to play that. And we're going to go through this era where the gaming industry kind of crumbles from that aspect. And it's going to force developers to change how they work and the infrastructure behind it. And that's what will happen. If they're going to be putting out awesome high-end cards that are insanely priced to build or aren't buildable, everything else should lean into line combos and theme teams. This year, 100%. The problem is that they lean into the expensive, extremely buildable cards with the line combos on top of it. I love that point. This year is a cycle that would actually benefit from a full team of the week each week, for instance, because every single player could be made better by combos and upgrade somebody's theme team. Oh, I love that point. I took your advice last year and just stuck with using my favorite players. I'm super hyped each time a new Flyers card comes out to improve the team. Sidebar. Aside from your aside on physical activity on this was great. A lot of what you talk about resonates with me because I'm in the similar age range with a wife and kids, but I checked out Muay Thai sent me. Nuclear grade middle-aged man shit. Keep up the good work and positivity, brother. Max says they should add a bunch of new 86 overall icons. At least that doesn't screw their progression, but add a bunch of fun buildable cards, more teams like Montreal, Toronto, Chicago, and older clubs that have crazy fan bases. Feed us. We're starved for reachable content. Just give us what we like. It's not that complicated. Yeah, but man, they could give us what we like in a much smaller drip and give you a far bigger urge to spend money. Bergeron comes out. He's new to the game. There's a reason why they didn't just make him an 86 overall and kind of make him good and obtainable. They made him a 90 and extremely expensive. Because that's an exciting card and they want you to go spend money on it. As a no money spent player, I saved most coins and fodder all year, then finally went all in with 600k to make Dion to pair with Fox since I love the Rangers and he gets a great boost. Bam. 2 days later, a pack to get 386 plus icons with amazing odds. I cannot stand the randomness of which they do things. Not once has there been a good guaranteed pack all year, and now that I have nothing left, I have no chance at these packs anymore. This feels extremely unfair, almost similar to the fantasy cards that they screwed up earlier. I cannot see how this can last much longer and not frustrate people to the point of quitting. It's addiction, man. It's addiction in gaming. And you're the ultimate feels bad in this situation. I talked about the people that spent money and how I felt bad for people that spent money. If you did this and you spent all your resources, that you should be furious at this, right? This is the ultimate kicked while you're down, and there's no rhyme or reason. There's nothing that we can predict. It is simply wasn't engaged with enough. We better find a way to make people more engaged. This makes me feel bad. And I don't blame the content team anymore. Like, I used to see stuff like this and blame the content team. Guys, they are getting instructed. Imagine you're a salesperson, okay? And your entire job and how you provide for your family and all of it is based on, sales. And you're going to go out and do what you got to do to get those sales. And that's not the end all be all. We're playing a video game, right? But there has been times where when they make cards that are Daryl Sittler's Hut Champs card, that I blame the content team on. Like, fellas, that card is so bad for the top 100 players. The best players in the world at this video game get an absolutely horrendous reward for doing it. The reward for being amazing at this game is the most unrewarding compared to other sports games. In MLB, you get a unbelievable card. It's also golden and multiple ways to flex that you're one of the best in the game. You get insane amounts of rewards. Okay? In NHL, they rubber band and try to keep the player base so close together, even though the top end don't play the bottom at all, that they just are like that. That is where you blame the content team. Stuff like this, I would be surprised if it's not, hey, what is going on with the sales here? The yacht owners of EA being like, what's going on here? Why are we down in sales? Figure it out. And now they got to go do this. You know? I don't think it's right. The consumer gets smoked, but it's like I try whenever there is a massive uproar about to a certain person. I try and think of like, okay, what would it be like if I was in their shoes? If I was on the content team. This is why, low key, when all is said and done, I would love to be on the content team for at least a year to try it. Because, well, I think I could make great cards and have a good understanding of what the players want. We don't see what goes on when they're like, either fix this and sell more or you're out of a job, right? And again, it's predatory stuff. We want someone to blame. The guys in the executive office, you know, but the players, the ones that suffer, man, the consumer, it sucks, man. When I saw that stuff, right? When I saw that pack come out, it was yet another gut punch because as someone who's no money spent, I spent money on a Sharks team, sure. Okay. That was my own doing, but there is no way for me to grind and acquire that much coins. There's not. It is all random. And you're someone who chased after the new content. You were a good boy. They released great cards. I talked about this. They released great cards, and you were like, okay, I'm going to engage with this. This is worth my time and resources. And then, hey, we're not seeing enough. We've got to fix this. Now you're screwed. Courtney says, I got to be real with you, man. If you start using AI to script these videos, I got to unsub. This is yesterday there was a comment where someone was saying, hey, I saw your rundown. I make a rundown every day for Coffee and Chel now to try and make these a little bit better. I can't just talk out of my ass for an hour. I mean, I could, but it would be really bad, worse than it is sometimes on this. So I try to keep it on the train tracks. And someone said, go and upload if you take this link of the video that I went through, the old video, the one from yesterday, went through this and I put this in ChatGPT and he said to generate topics that, I want to be clear here. I know what he was intending. I'm never going to use an AI to script my videos. That would be absolutely ridiculous. I love making videos. That would take away the fun part of this, talking, giving my opinions, talking about stuff with like-minded people. He meant take all of the comments and get ChatGPT to be like, here are the things that most people are talking about, hit on these topics. That was what he was talking. I'll never do that, Gordy. Don't you worry. And I thought that was actually a pretty good idea. That's a good way to use ChatGPT to just get hey, what was everyone doing? Because I read all the comments. I try to, but sometimes I can't grasp how many of the same one there is. I try to like it, but ChatGPT being like, hey, these are the 5 things that everyone is talking about in this video. Touch on this. That's a good way to use it. So, 2 says, I'd just like to say I love the new win streaks in ranked, but the rewards are so terrible. I'm high diamond and ranking up won't even get me a set usable card. Feels so unrewarding even if you're a higher end player. Yeah. Less rewards or more expensive stuff, less rewards. This trend will only continue. It will not get better, guys. Even think about the earlier days. So 24 and below. Okay, so NHL 20 to 24. We got just blasted with untradeable crap packs. Okay. Rivals, squad battles, champs. We'd open up 20 packs on a Wednesday if you grinded the game. And you would pull nothing. And if you think that you did, go back and look at Reddit. Go back and look at my videos. Go back and look at Thrash pack. Well, maybe Thrash would be a different one because he opens up 7,000 packs. But even him, there's a lot of times where he doesn't pull anything. And the problem is that isn't a good business model in this day and age, in 2025. And again, like I said, the way that you see companies when they're trying to maximize profit after losing a epic amount of money like EA did in this time last year with Dragon Age and FIFA sales being down, FIFA microtransactions being down a ton. They let go of employees. There's every company. They let go of employees so that the cost, they're not spending as much on salary. So that helps with the loss of revenue. And then they take the people that are spending money currently and they squeeze them until they can't be squeezed anymore. It's like drilling for oil, right? And eventually we'll be like, that's enough. Again, it happens in little tiny microcosms. What just happened? The 90 overall icons, 95%, 99% of the player base can't obtain those cards with what is available to them as a casual player. They have to put out a pack to allow people to get engaged in it. And that is the entirety now of HUT. And it is only going to get worse. And like I said, we can complain and demand more, but here is what I would recommend. Find your own way to have fun in the game and accept this. And if you can't accept this, you got to find a new game. And that is completely okay. You know, I know content creators, guys, that go through this and they're fed up and they just stop. Like Kesso, my man. A lot of my viewers from a long time ago know who Kesso is. I started Coffee and Chel with him. He was awesome, addicted to HUT, loved playing competitively. You know, it got to the point where rewards were so bad, and this is like NHL 23, and he was like, I don't enjoy this. I'm out. And it happens everywhere in the game. But the casual player that it's, again, just like Netflix. You're watching a show, and you don't want to spend time in your day because you have so little time to find a new show. So you throw on the same movie or rewatch the same 5 shows over and over again in a cycle because you don't want to spend the time trying to find something new. And I understand that because your time is very precious. And this is the situation we're in. Again, guys, I am not defending EA. I want to make this very clear. I feel like sometimes this point gets lost. Even what I was talking about earlier, where I don't blame the content team for the pack stuff, the money stuff, it still does not make it okay as a consumer. But it would be extremely hypocritical where I would say this is unacceptable and that I'm still going to play the game. All you can do is show your lack of support by not engaging in certain content, like spending money, and then find your own way to have fun. And if you can't do that, it's on you to break that cycle. You're addicted, just like we all are. You have to go and try to do something else. It is no different than smoking, drinking, all of that. It's far less dangerous. Well, it has its own dangers. I guess you can really being addicted to video games can really ruin your life in the sense of like you sacrifice relationships and things like that in the same way. But obviously drugs and alcohol are far worse, but it is still an addiction nonetheless. Right. And it's something that I'm like a big advocate for because I know what it's like to have an addictive personality. And you've got to shake up. The best way, guys, is to shake up your routine of what you do every day. Whether you're someone who doesn't realize, let's say you're not very motivated, you don't work out, you go to work, you go to bed, right? You still have the same things that you do. And if you change your environment, I built my sanctuary, right? Now I have a place to go at the end of my day and I can actually play games. Where before I'd be up in my living room with my wife or whatever, because that's where she hangs out. Or I'd be in bed and I'm like, I'm not playing video games in bed like I'm a teenager, right? Especially with my wife there, you know? I'd go to sleep. I couldn't play video games. I'm not doing it in my room, in my studio, because I want out of here. I've been working all day. I did that, completely changed my enjoyment of video games and watching hockey and things like that. And now that's not, everyone doesn't have that luxury, but that's what you have to do. Like I said, if you feel like you have to play HUT Champs every weekend, like if you haven't missed a HUT Champs run in 2 years, sign up for something on Sunday night, on Friday night. Like I don't care if it's music trivia. Force your buddies to go and do something. And that's a way to get out of it. Take your wife out. Do something. That's how you break an addiction. You have to break the structure that you've set yourself up for. Way too deep of a conversation. But that's what you get here, and I'm not going to apologize for it. Matt says, COD. Oh, this was my favorite comment. COD is in no way milking money like HUT. Yes, they do with black selling skins, but everything they sell outside of the main game is cosmetic. HUT have better cards than than others that you can only get if you did put money. And even if you put money, sometimes you can't get it. There is no company that milk like EA Sports. Two different things. Okay, Ultimate Team in Call of Duty or Fortnite, for example. Here is where you're not seeing what's happening. Okay. Call of Duty and games like it are charging full price and they have absolutely zero innovation. Okay. There is no innovation because everything that they put their money in is marketing and then how to get you to spend those skins and cosmetics. That's it. And if you don't believe me, then go and look at every review, not from a journalist. God, don't listen to gaming journalists, man. Go and look at the player count. Go and look at the sales numbers when that's reported by Activision, or I believe it's Activision. Two different things. EA milks it because it is the cards, you can technically earn them with excessive amounts of time input, right? So yes, it is Ultimate Team is a different structure because it does give you an advantage in game, where Call of Duty, you're trapped. And this is the problem with a lot of kids that play games like this, because the defense of these games where you're not paying for an advantage in the game, you're only paying for cosmetics, is that you're not seeing that that's all they care about and that's all they're trying to push, and they're not innovating their product. Right? Sports games are sports games, man. We're going to get one every year and the innovation is very small, but it is tied to a real thing in real life. So that props up a lot of the I want to play it, right? It's a different business structure for sure. But like I said, man, go and look at what happened and the lack of innovation and the corner cutting. That campaign, like it again, I don't hate Call of Duty, so it's not like I used to love Call of Duty. It is simply just the beginning of the end of that mindset. One of the best ways to understand this is go and launch Call of Duty for the first time. I watched a Legendary Drops video on this. You click open Call of Duty. You're then hit with a launcher that is nothing but blasting you with ads for in-game stuff. Then you have to go and find the new game that you want to play because it has like all of the old Call of Duty library. Another annoying click in. Then you're hit with a cutscene. Then you're hit with a weird matchmaking level, another cutscene. It takes 15 minutes to get into the game. You're met with when you get into the game, you're just blasted with cosmetics and ways to spend money in game, and you don't realize that that is far more predatory than Ultimate Team, because at least when you spend money in game, you're supposed to get an advantage, right? Which is not good, but it's two different things. It's two different things. And again, you're seeing the end of it with Call of Duty. Okay, this one was tough. Tough read. But I wanted to include it because it had a lot of likes and very important comment to me. So, Uro says, Sleeves, I'm with you since 2018. That's my second year of creating content. I'm older than you, actually 48. Your streams and channel helped me when I lost my child. As a dad, man, I had a hard time reading this because anyone that is not a dad, yes, obviously you can have some sort of understanding of what happens when you lose a kid, how devastating that would be. You have no idea until you have a kid, because it is a before and after mentality change, and I can't even think about it. I can't even think about it. The only way to survive was to find something to forget. I watched your strategies videos, and I was at the edge to qualify for GWC in 2019. Thank you for saving my soul. Maybe you can't feel it, but your fans are very addicted to the game and to your channel. You made Hut important, and without you, this game will not be the same. I have just one thing in which I don't like. Your streams lately are sometimes negative. You're playing without passion, and body language is not right. We all need positivity, energy, and hope. Hopefully you can bring it back with the Sharks theme team. Go Sharks go. By the way, I think I will see a lot of theme teams in Hut. First of all, my man, I am super happy that I was able to provide any sort of distraction because I can't like I said, I can't comprehend that. But I want to hit on the criticism here, the constructive criticism, because I think that when you get angry people on Reddit specifically, but and they don't, or not even the people criticizing content creators, but I think content creators sometimes lose the plot. And a reason why I have no problem streaming for 35 days in a row. Obviously, the subathon was financially motivated and stuff like that, but there is a level of I'm locked in this room and just being able to do it every single day is because I truthfully love. One of my favorite things is my chat playing video games. None of my friends do anymore. Playing video games with a bunch of homies. That's what Twitch is. That's what streaming is. That's why I enjoy it. That's why it's never a job. I never am like, God, I gotta go stream. I am like, God, I gotta go play NHL. But the streaming aspect of it, I will never get sick of because it is literally just like I've cultivated a community of like-minded people that I'm blessed to have, and that is awesome. Now, the avoiding negativity is when you get this happens with every content creator that's full-time when they play one game. Video games are not designed to play the amount that we play them. No video game is, especially a yearly sports game. And the way that dopamine works is that when you get a big high, like hitting a tier in ranked or pulling a icon or pulling something of huge hype, the peak of that is awesome. But then how dopamine works is that you slowly drop back down, and the only way to get to back peak is to pull something even higher and do something even crazier. You're chasing the unobtainable at a certain point when you've played 1,000 hours of a game. And there are times when I stream and I'm having to play ranked because I have to. A lot of the times when I'm in a bad mood, I'll just talk, and those are my favorite streams. My favorite streams are just shooting the shit with you guys. But then when I'm playing the game, like when Hut Champs, a lot of the time when I've lost a few games that I shouldn't have lost and I know my run's over, those are when I'm just trying to get the game done and I'm negative. And sometimes content creators forget that, well, we are meant for entertainment or information, but mostly entertainment and a distraction. We're a television show. And I think that when content creators complain or bring negativity and promote that stuff, you're forgetting that a lot of your audience is using you as a distraction for the normal stresses in life. That what you went through is not a normal stress. And yesterday, when I was playing with my Sharks team, the amount of people, like I said in chat, were like, "Man, you've got the most amount of energy." I just feel like I'm having a blast. But I'm gonna take this into heart, man. I need to. This was a. First of all, not to get emotional, but It is. That means a lot, because again, I'm just someone who plays video games, but to hear that I could assist someone with a tragedy that is unmatched is important. And I think that I'm gonna remember your comment for years, dude. That when I'm being negative, I'm gonna lock in and remember that sometimes you can complain. I can complain about bad goals or something stupid, right? But I'm gonna in the back of my mind have the guardrails on, being like, dude, no one wants to tune in to hear you bitch, bro. People have got way harder problems than you. So again, just thank you for the comment, man. That means a lot. Cody Rhodes says, as someone who is fascinated in the gaming programming industry like yourself, where in your approximation is NHL 2017 at? We obviously just saw the big NHL 26 update, so now is the team all on 27. I remember you saying that they only have about 12 weeks of actual coding time before the beta builds are made. So, how it worked. Okay, there is a new development team that took over in 23. 24 was their first game, really, the first full one. So it might work a little bit differently, especially with the crazy move up of the game being a month earlier in release. When I went out to when you become a game changer, and when they used to have game sessions where they'd fly you to Vancouver, everyone calls them pizza parties, because essentially what it is they would get 8 to 10 of us and they would lock us in a room, and you would play the new game in a beta for like 8 to 10 hours. Like it was QR or QA testing with like the most hardcore players or the most hardcore obsessed people of the product, trying to find all the bugs you can, and that is by far the best way to do it. COVID crushed that because obviously we couldn't go. So basically, they would send us betas or alphas that we would download on our Xboxes or PlayStations, and we would play out there. The problem is that people have lives, and we're not paid to be game changers, whether you guys want to believe it or not. So setting up time to play was very difficult. 100%. Like even myself, who does this for a living, it'd be like at the end of the day, do I want to go and for free go test the game? You know, I would mess around, but like setting up is very difficult to get everyone together. So when you go, my first time going to EA was NHL 19 Subban. I think that's 19. And the first thing they do is they bring you in and they walk you around the studio, whether you've been there or not. It's kind of a nice tour. It shows the new people. And they would walk you through the development process. They would actually get you in a boardroom and they'd be like, here, this is how it actually works. And then they would show you the rest of the development. It was really cool. It was really eye-opening. So I don't know if it's changed, but this is how it would roughly work. So the launch of the game, it would be all hands on deck in October, September, let's say September. All hands on deck for about 4 weeks after to make sure the game works, right? Again, the problem with the gaming industry over the last 15 years is that there's day zero patches. You don't need to ship a full product, and you've got deadlines that are almost impossible to meet. So what happens is you get a big day zero patch, and then you got to put out the bugs that should have been fixed prior. This is every sports game, by the way. Every game does this. They don't release a fully fleshed out product. They get close to it, and then they fix all of the stuff once the community gets the hands on it. It's been about 4 weeks doing that. They've already started planning. A small portion of the team would have started planning in like May or June. You'd have a very small section of the developers working on 27. And this would be like the big grandiose ideas of it and seeing what's possible and kind of getting ready, right? Then November comes and it's kind of like a hardcore, okay, this is the stuff we're going to do. Like, this is it, all right? So it'd be like 90% of the devs would now shift over from the current game to the new game in November or October, November. And then December, right around Christmas time, that I think that is when everyone gets their vacation. And they're employees, guys. Like, they're human beings. I get that you hate the game and they, you can call them lazy or brain dead or whatever. They're still human beings and they have a job just like you do. So that is roughly, I believe, when they get their vacation, except for the HUT content team, which I always found very funny. They were completely opposite because the summer is insane for the dev team. The content team, it's like a lot less because you know what I mean? And then January is the 12 weeks kind of begins. So from my understanding, there was 12 weeks where basically the coders, I'm talking the mud boys, right? That's what I'm going to call them, the mud boys. They're in there coding the game, doing stuff that we can't comprehend. And they have about 12 weeks. And in that, they have to make an alpha and then a beta build and then get ready for launch. So in those 12 weeks, we're probably at the beginning. I think that starts in December a little bit too. We're probably nearing the beginning of that. So right now, my guess would be that they figured out all of the new things they're going to put in 27. And I don't mean that they haven't figured it out in the summertime. I mean, like, they have a list of 50 things. In October, November, they're literally going through and they're like, okay, here's the order. And then they try to tackle all of them. And then they get to however many they get to, right? And that's usually how it goes. So I would suspect that, yeah, we're getting close to Christmas time. So then the hardcore coding happens. And then around March is when we'd see an alpha, or we'd get a look. We'd get like the very firsthand look at it, of like, okay, this is what's coming to the game changers or the like of the people that they show off and kind of get the feedback on and whatnot. And then going up into that, you've got marketing and trying to get everything finished. I feel bad for these guys because the crunch to release a new game in a year is crazy with the demand of like, hey, you better make $100 million or however much money or you're fired. Like, I can't imagine because you basically there's no non-busy season. There's no time where they go in 9 to 5 and they're like, ah. And you could think that there is, but this is the problem. It's not that they're like lazy and dumb. And maybe some of the direction ideas, yes, you can agree with that subjective. It's just that there's not enough mud boys. That's the problem with EA NHL. There is not enough guys in the mud actually being able to make as much out of the 12 weeks they get to make the game. So yeah, hope that shed a little bit of light on how the things made. So all right, guys, that is going to do it for today's Coffee and Chel. Tomorrow, Friday, we get week 2 of the Grudge Match event. And then again, I'm going away Saturday morning. My flight is at 5 a.m. I'm basically staying up all the way until 3 when I got to head out here towards the airport. I will have a Coffee and Chel episode. I'll record one Friday night. I'll record a No Money Spent video for you guys on Sunday. I'm going to do a rankings video of the Master Set player items. I've already got 4 episodes of the theme team up ready for you guys. So if you missed the stream yesterday of my theme team, you're going to be able to catch it all, and you'll see exactly what happened. But nonetheless, thank you guys again for watching me, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one.